Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Artcast, a very special Artcast, because this is an Artcast I've recorded 3 times in a row. Let's start off by saying the subject of today's Artcast is Mirage from Disney's Aladdin, the animated series. Yep. Played by Whoopi Goldberg, I believe. She had actually an extensive voice acting filmography before even, I'm trying to think. She was Gaia. She was Mirage. She was a bunch of different stuff. She was sort of like, she was at that point where you could be like a big movie star and then also do a bunch of like weird little TV spots, because they were, I don't know, there was this point before the 90s where it was like chic to both be in movies and in TV shows. And then that sort of flipped where TV shows were sort of beneath some actors. Like you got your start on TV and then you never looked back once you got into movies. And now it's sort of flipped and reversed. It's like now movies are released like, you can release an hour long of whatever. But thanks to Breaking Bad and How Not to Train Your Dragons, it's flipped. Long form storytelling's a bit more. I'm staring at my microphone right now. I'm so nervous. Getting back to what I was saying, I've recorded this 3 times, maybe 4 times before. I've been having trouble with my microphone. I guess it's just getting up there in age. I've had it for years. It would just stop recording. And I'd figured that was because the battery was bad every time. I figured like, I used it for an hour. Like, it's really draining this battery. I got to change it every time before I start. And I figured, I just forget every time I do it. I had a cup of coffee in my hand. Here, take a bottle of water, get started on work. But I would do that. And now I this morning I was like, okay, I turned it on. I was like, it's not coming on. Oh, you don't have a battery inside. That's right. You specifically left the battery out of the out of the microphone, so that way no one would, not no one, me specifically would turn it on without realizing the battery was missing. So I pop a fresh battery in, and I'm like ready to go. Whoop-de-doo. Get started, and I turn it on, and I hit the record button, and I'm talking for like maybe 30 minutes, and then I realize that the microphone's dead. So that was fun. Then I go, and I'm like thinking, okay, well, what the hell's the problem? And then I just start playing with it and fiddling, and it realized that it'll only last for like 30 seconds of recording time before it shuts itself off. So I'm looking at this thing, I'm thinking, what the hell is the problem with it? I'm fiddling with the switches, diddling with the dials. And I guess it's just something with the battery or the battery connection. Because whenever I record, hook it up to the computer, it works just fine. The audio never drops off. I never lose connection. It's perfect. So it must be something to do with the battery connection when there is an actual battery. In a little bit of problem solving, I have decided to use an external battery pack that I use for cell phones and sometimes. I have 2 that I carry around. They're actually really good for lighting ring lights. I've got some portable ring lights instead of these big bulky ones, which I break out sometimes when I need a lot of light. But when you only need a little bit, these little ring lights work just fine. and I use the batteries to power them when I'm not using them to charge the phone. It's perfect. And then I have this one pack that I got like a long time ago. I got from the dollar store. You're supposed to take 2 AA batteries, put it inside, and it has a USB port to it, and you can plug whatever you want in there. You're supposed to charge your phone for like 1 hour. It's supposed to be like for emergencies, because it's not very effective. But I imagine when this microphone was up and working, a good battery would run this thing for a couple days. I imagine 2 batteries would be even better for this microphone, because now I have it hooked up like I have it hooked up through the cable, and it's powering it, and it's working fine. We're now 5 minutes in without losing anything. Seems to be working, knock on wood. And the quote of the day that I just got on my phone, it's not the daily increase, but the daily decrease. Hack away at the unessential. I don't know who said that, and I don't want to tap on it to lose my place in the video. But yeah, we're doing just fine. I guess that's just something that's got to happen now. Either I got to hook the microphone up to a computer whenever I want to use it, or I got to have an external battery pack. This rig looks crazy. I got the phone in front of me, which I'm looking at the footage. I like that little V that I did with her, with the that moves into her belly and pelvis, and I'm gonna have to start doing that a little more. That just made everything a little bit more simpler to look at the anatomy. But anyway, this rig is insane. I've got the phone in front of me, I got the microphone to my right, and I got a battery pack strapped on with a Velcro band to the left. And I'm working out in the front today, so I look extra crazy. There, that's okay. This is going to be a very technical heavy art cast, because I'm also going to talk about how I discovered well, I didn't discover anything. I just came up to an epiphany. And I describe an epiphany as like being proud of that you thought of something, but also lamenting that you didn't think of it sooner. For example, with these art casts, when I would do them, I would process the footage before I put any sort of dialogue underneath them, and I would just finish them and in the highest resolution I could think of, or I had, which if you have the free version of Lightworks, subscription free, if you do that, then you can only export it out into 720p, which is fine. That's considered HD on YouTube. But I would do that, and it would take like 2 or 3 hours depending on the footage. And then I was thinking, I had the realization, well, you're putting this on your phone, and you're like moving this to your phone so you'll have it, so you can you can see it in front of you. And it's taking up like 3 or 4 gigs on your phone, even on your SD card. That's still substantial. And it's also eating a bunch of time for you processing the footage that you're not going to do. You're going to have to process the footage later anyway. Instead of 720, why don't you drop that down to 360? And sure enough, the footage was processed in like about maybe a quarter of the time, which logically, by math, makes sense. And moved it to my phone, takes up a lot less space, and I'm able to just... It looks fine to me, because that's the resolution of a phone screen. I was going to do it in 240. I think that's one of the resolutions. But then it looked, even then on a cell phone, it looked like garbage. So I was like, no, I'm not a barbarian. I'm going to keep it at 360. That's a nice, comfortable little area to work in. And then later on, when I put my voice underneath it and any image I want to include in the Artcast, I can work in HD. Bada bing, bada boom. So yeah, a little proud of myself for realizing what, like, other people have realized since forever. Work in low def and then up it when you're ready to do the final. God, this is working out great. This little cable. Again, knock on wood. I hope it stays for the entire cast. But yeah, I've just been doing a lot of technical stuff. What else can I tell you about what I've been doing? Oh, I got a new capture card for footage. That was an ordeal because I went over to Fry's Electronics. That place is going out of business. I can tell you, it's not officially going out of business. They apparently have a huge online presence, but if you go in the store and you need something, then they got nothing on their shelves. They say they are renegotiating with distributors, but I don't know if it has anything to do with the tariffs are kind of choking them out, which is a shame because that place is kind of a landmark. It's built like a big Aztec temple for some reason. I don't know what happened when they were building that thing or why they designed it that way. Why they wanted to make it like a theme park. It's like Japanese electronics and cocaine went into the building of that thing. And it would actually really be horrible if they shut that down. I don't know what happened during the 80s, but there was a big Aztec boom. There was a Macayo's in the middle of Central Phoenix that was also built like an Aztec temple. Now, given that, yes, Mexican food is a little bit more closer to Mesoamerican architecture, it's, of course, far removed, centuries and Americanization and stuff like that. But still, it's a theme. Fry's Electronics, I don't know why they decided to go with that. But it certainly made a statement. And it's been a sort of a landmark here. And I don't know if they have it anywhere else if it's like that. I should look online to see if they for some reason just wanted to make like big temples anywhere else. But yeah, I went over there. I tried buying several pieces of equipment. Like one, I built a... What the hell are they doing? There are like 4 or 5 plumbers going to this one house. That must be a hell of a bleak. But what was I saying? Something about... Oh, yeah. I went and bought basically a hard drive toaster. It's like a hard drive connection to other computers because I've got like maybe 6 or 7. Well, no, that's an overstatement. Settle down, Chad. I got maybe like 3 terabytes sitting around of hard drive because they're just all from old computers and stuff. So I was just like, well, actually, I could use that if I'm going to start gaming. So I buy a toaster for like $30 from Fry's Electronics. I use it twice, and then for some reason it shuts down. It won't even boot up. The electric system won't run. It won't read. It won't do anything. It did have a nice little feature where it had like 3 or 4 USB ports in the front of it, where you could like charge other things. Now, I did not use those when I tested them out. You can turn them on, and you can put in your phone. It didn't, like, read or transfer anything to the to the hard drive. They were just extra USB ports, like superficial USB ports for, I don't know, whatever. But I plugged in my ring of my O lamp in there, and I was like, oh, actually, this would be pretty cool. I can set everything up and have it run through this. Never got to that phase of testing because just using it regularly made it fizzle out. I was like, oh, well, shit, what am I going to do? I go back and it's an ordeal getting your money back from Fry's Electronics. They had to, I mean, like I said, they're like severely understaffed. Every product I bought from them, that's not like a weird, actually, you know what? Yes, every product I bought from them is crappy. I needed an audio splitter for a piece of equipment I was using, and I needed one audio port in the front of the laptop to split off into the microphone and into the headphone. And I was like, okay, well, I need this, and I ordered one online for like $2. And I was like, okay, but I kind of want it now. And if I say, well, if it's a real bad itch, I'll just go up to Fry's Electronics and get one. I go up there, I spend like maybe $7 on the damn thing, and it sounds like shit. And so I'm like, oh, this is horrible. I guess this just isn't going to work. I mean, whatever. It must be my equipment or whatever. So I take that back, get my money back. And then I wait, like I forget about the other cord I bought. I wait for like 2 weeks. It comes. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me just test this out. It works perfectly, like immaculate. And I'm like, God, shit. I mean, what the hell? Not everything works like that, and I will explain that later when we go over the saga of the capture card. But like, I bought another cable, and for some reason, I think they had a piece of, I think it was a return, and they just put it back on the shelf because the connector was shoved all the way into the chassis of the. It needed an external power source, and it was decimated inside. I was like, this is garbage. So basically, I just took all my money and walked down the street and then gave it to Best Buy. Because I went to Best Buy after they said they didn't have any capture card, their toaster broke down, went over to Best Buy and bought everything I needed. Which I'm surprised they didn't have any capture cards, because that seems a little weird to me. I walk up to the guy and I say, do you have any capture cards? Because I remember them having tons of capture cards. And they say, no, we don't have any. You can look online. That's what they always say now. It's like, you can look online. It's like, yeah, whatever. And then I go over to Best Buy, and there I walk up to this kid. He's not a kid. He's like 25. But he's like 5 years younger than me, so I guess he's a kid. So I walk up to him and I say, do you have any capture cards? And he says, oh, yeah, we got tons. And he shows me like the top end ones, like the Elgatos. And then I see this one that's off to the side, and it's like this weird Evermedia thing. It's like a capture box. It's a capture box, and it's a capture... it's a Wi-Fi cable too. Not Wi-Fi. Webcam. And then I say, well, what about this one? Because it was like $20 cheaper. And he says, oh, I've never used that one before. And then I wanted to ask him, well, have you used all 5 of these before? I used to work at a Best Buy. I know. My manager was always trying to get me to upsell on stuff. When I worked in media, which means you worked in movies, video games, and CDs back when those were a thing. And it was real easy not to upsell people because they just asked you what you wanted. I mean, no. I asked them what they wanted, and they would tell me, and I would say, well, we have it, and it's right here, or we don't have it, but here's where you can find it, or here's where a new shipment will be in. The only thing they asked me to upsell was to get people onto Netflix. Because as my manager so brilliantly said, it's like, it's $5. We don't pay, there's no stock fee, there's no nothing. It's just $5, pure profit. I was like, well, what if they start watching all of their movies through this service? Like, won't you lose money in the long run? He's like, no, it's just the internet, man. It's just the internet, bro. Now they don't. I mean, actually, I've been in there. They've got like a video selection. If you want your hard media, you can go there and get everything you need. I thought it was going to be decimated, but they still got like a small CD section and everything. I think I've said this once before, that a CD section was once maybe like it extended halfway through the whole store. Just like aisles and aisles of CDs, and now it's nothing, because you can get all your music online. Hell, producers will put their music online. Like, you can go to YouTube and Vivo and listen to their albums. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So anyway, I get this capture card, and I'm like actually really hyped because it works great. It's just basically like a Ricoh box. You put in the HDMI cables from the device and then out to whatever monitor, and then you hook up to the computer. And you get this really nice webcam with it, which was like actually worth its weight in gold. Because it's really nice, it's really clear, it's very wide, so it captures everything. I don't have to fuss with it like I do with my older webcams, so it was actually a really good buy. I love stuff like that. I bought a 360-degree camera for about $20 because it was a shark fin or a bluefin or something like that. And I was going to do a video about it. Maybe I will do a video about it. It was a 360 camera. It doesn't take that high definition of footage. It was originally, they were originally asking $100 for it, which was preposterous. And I think they ran that number up, one, because it was a 360 camera and it was new. And it was new technology, and people were like, oh, wow, the 360 camera, this is cool. And two, they added a bunch of weird stuff with it. Like, it came with its case, it came with like three different kind of tripod fixtures to put it on, cables, like a 32 gig SD card. A knockoff one, but it's still, that's a good SD card. So all in all, minus the camera, I think the equipment alone would have been $40. So that was actually a steal on my part. Even if I opened the box and threw the camera away, which I still have it. It's around. I could use it for something. But it was really, really low quality. Like it shot in maybe, by the time you processed it all, it was in 360, which would have been fine for I guess YouTube videos, but I don't know. Okay, I gotta get back to the capture card because I have an interesting story about that. But just one quick thing, I took a deep dive down to Venture Brothers clips on YouTube, and they're still all up in 360. And it's blurry as hell. And I just think that's an interesting little time capsule of a time and place in the internet history where it's okay, well, here's a really low quality clip. Because one, that's probably the best they can do. And two, they probably put it in low quality to get you to watch the actual show on a TV, later on. pretty smart, pretty sneaky, sis. But getting back to the capture card, it works great. I love it. Captures everything in real nice high quality for when I need it to. I can even hook up my regular camera. Like, I have cables to hook up all my regular handheld cameras into it, and I can record that way in some real nice quality footage. Weird thing about that is that it's got a delay that I just can't seem to get rid of. And it's there's some settings you can do on OBS, but it always changes whenever you unconnect it and reconnect it. So I'm going to find a way to work around that. But like, I figured out a way to like get a really good 3-camera setup for when I do like unboxing videos and like maybe cheap damages and stuff like that. With OBS you can switch scenes. So I did a test setup where I had 3 cameras. Like the new webcam, which is really nice, which will be me from all my dialogue, when I'm talking to the camera. Maybe the HD handheld camera through the capture card for when I need like wide shots of really nice, crisp, detailed things that I can like zoom in later and not lose a lot of resolution. And then I've got an older webcam, which is fine, but it's got like such a hair trigger when it's the autofocus is like really, really aggressive. So I'm thinking about just using that for like really close detail shots when I need something to like be super, super close for like really fine print. So that'll be fun. But then I needed something for another video I was doing, and it was on Netflix. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just I'm paying $30 a month. I can snipe a little footage here and there. So I hook up the capture card to my computer to get some Netflix footage, and the thing shuts down, or it blocks it. It puts up a picture on the screen that says copywritten content. I was like, oh, I didn't know it did that. I don't know what it does. I guess it must send some sort of signal to the device that says, oh. I imagine that's what it would be. Like there's a little chip inside the box, and then when you hook it up, it reads it and says, okay, block this. And I was like really disappointed because OBS doesn't have that problem. When if you screen capture your computer with OBS, it works just fine because I've done that before with like Klaus and the Santa Claus and a bunch of other different things. Some of it I produced, some of it I haven't produced. Like video essays. I'm not talking like producing in that traditional sense. So I'm like, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to figure out a workaround because I really want this footage. And then I realized, well, there's that crappy capture card that I bought. It's this blue capture card box. It's got like 4K printed on the thing. It's not name brand in any way. It's got the FCC logo printed on the back of it, but I think that's just because that's the thing you print on electronics. It's like a knockoff thing. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Anyway, so I buy this blue capture card. I finally get it. At first I think it works great, but I notice that there's this weird pixelation with all the footage I get, and I don't want that if I'm going to do some like videos, like Let's Play videos, or streaming that. So I put that to the side. I think I'm going to return that later. But then I realize that I still have it. And I hook it up. And that damn thing doesn't have any content blockers. And it's just like the footage is just like a little pixely. Especially in the shadows. For some reason, white... You'd expect to lose resolution when the picture is as clear as possible. But no, when it's black... Like the blacks are like a real dark, kind of almost like charcoal, and it gets really pixely there. Like darker things, you really notice it. But anyway, it works great because I don't mind using a little bit lower film footage. In fact, that's a plus whenever you're working on YouTube, because if the film quality is a little lower, then people don't mind not... I guess studios don't mind having it on there, having you review it. But anyway, I'm a little proud of... I'm excited that worked out. I didn't waste like $30 there getting that capture card. Hold on a second. I don't want to touch the screen or turn off the microphone or pause anything because I've got, like, my hands are all muddy now. It's been raining for the last 3 days. So... Oh, you are not doing... Here, just wait. I'm going to move out to the back. Yeah, so it's been raining for about 3 days and everything's just kind of muddy. But this is the perfect time to get all the weeds out of your yard. Because the soil is nice and soft and the roots of the weeds have swollen up. I don't know if you could that was captured on the audio real bad. Well, I'm just going to work out in this little section over here. It's a little bit closer to the back. Closer to the mountain. Oh, whoa, oh, criminy. Hold on a second. Oh, wow. That is... we got a brick patio out here, and the water from the rain has gotten underneath it, and it's really swollen up. I'm like, it's almost like a cushion of bricks, and when I step on it, all the water kind of pops up. I'm hoping that doesn't shift underneath it. Oh, she's looking nice. Oh, God, I gotta cut these bushes. Hold on a second, I had a clipper. I can't even get back there. Yeah, can you hear that? Oh, God. Here. Ugh. Oh, no, that one just... Oh, gosh. I almost want to get footage of this, but I can't. It's like it's a spring of water popping out from... Oh, God, it's all the sand's popping out. Oh, Lord. It's like a geyser. That's going to be interesting. Hold on a second. Let me pause this. This is what I was talking about. It's, I just stepped on it, and all the water from underneath it is boiling up. It's like a big, well, I guess like a big pimple of water. There's one over here, and it's pushing all the sand out from underneath it. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit... Yeah, ugh. I don't know what to do about this. Huh. Okay, well, anyway, back to the video. So anyway, that's fun. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. It's really going. I'm actually mesmerized by it. Oh, geez. Okay, so I'm just stepping on all the rocks and the water's popping out. Maybe this is a good thing. Or maybe it's a bad thing and I should just let it. Well, no, if I do that, then the water will absorb and shift into the ground. It's pushing up all the sand. How appropriate. This is like something like Aladdin would actually find, like in that Sand Witch episode. Oh, it's so crinkly. Like I said, it's almost like... oh, there's 4 of them now. Holy shit. Oh, that's cool. I'm just like... That's like something out of a video game. Okay. Maybe I should get a broom and... God, I need the clippers. I need the broom. It never ends. That's why I'm recording this stuff. Like this. Like in the car while I pick weeds. I got like one septuagenarian and her 3 baby boomer kids to babysit. And not like well-to-do baby boomers, like kind of did a lot of drugs in the 60s baby boomers. Actually, my mom's the best one off. Yeah, I got to get all this water out off of this. What were we talking about? Videos? Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. Getting back to the art. Finally, I had the bright idea, another epiphany, of like, why am I working so hard on this stupid thing? In this program in Seiya, you can tweak the pen softness and edging of it, and you can produce like really soft edges or really hard edges just from one setting. And sometimes when I'm working on coloring, I will play with those settings. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have the idea of just duplicating the different pens and then saving them for later. So that way I can jump from one pen to the other, and I have a little inking section right there. And I don't have to get back to all my settings whenever I want them. Again, another little what's that called? Ease of life? No. Oh, whatever. I don't know. I'll think of it. It's one of those things I'll think of later. I'm still trying to think about it. God, it is really... Okay, I'm going to have to replace this brick. I know that. Okay, I think that's about enough. I took as much as I could off the patio. And now to get those clippers. But yeah, the ease of life? No. Quality of life. That's it. A quality of life feature. I knew I'd get it as soon as I didn't think about it. Ooh, I have my coffee here. Nice. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's looking... I was surprised about like, oh, hey, I could just keep the settings of each of these pens on their own, and I wouldn't have to bounce back and forth between them all. Again, that's probably another thing someone thought of, like about, I don't know, years ago. And they've been working that way, and not me. I've just sort of figured that out now. Damn, I'm glad this microphone thing has worked out, so I can keep doing this. Like, I've been out here, I've like talked for like hours and hours, and haven't gotten, I've lost. Like, well, I didn't lose anything. I did yard work. That's what I'm doing this for. Oh, good Lord. If this doesn't go down, then the whole patio is going to be cattywampus. Oh, well. That's so weird. I've never seen that before. And now I'm going to have to come out here and cut all the bushes because they're going to overgrow real bad because of all the rain. It's been a surreal, what with all the coronavirus information. Like, all that stuff was breaking. Grandma's lost a bunch of money in the stock market. Not a bunch, but like, she's got safer stocks than most people. But she like lost, like, she got it back a little bit, I guess. But it's just been a real kind of bad, gloomy couple days. But we must persist. And we need to not be afraid of looking foolish while we do it. I was going to sit out there and work in front of those, like, 5 plumbers. And then someone had to start using a leaf blower on a yard that has no leaves. Whatever. Oh, now what the hell is this? Oh, no. I thought someone came into the yard. Where's that bag? Yeah, just usually I would have to use an airbrush on that tail, and I think I end up using the airbrush. But I was real happy with the soft quality I got out of these pen settings. So that was a real boost. And I did a little something different with her hair. I never liked that weird kind of bowl thing that she had. So I left that out, and I just kind of gave her that, just the kind of snake thing that kind of tied off her hair in the back into a ponytail. Oh God, this trash can, she left out this trash can. Now it's got a bunch of water in the bottom of it. Hold on a second. Oh, good Lord. The magic window to your right is a tracking program that tracks the mouse. Just if you haven't seen my other videos where I feature it. It's not that bad in this video. And I think that's because this is a relatively shorter video than the ones I've been experimenting with it. There was one where I was drawing 3 characters, and that took like maybe about 2 hours to draw. This one took like maybe an hour in total. No, wait, that's not possible. Like maybe an hour and a half, because I am compressing it a little bit. Hold on, I got to figure out a way to get the garbage juice out of the bottom of this without actually dumping out the contents. Or screw it, I'll just put it all in the garbage can. Problem solving, hey? But, yeah, I usually have a little problem with the tracking of it. But this is a little better since you actually get to see all the workspace that I would normally cut out. Like all my tool settings. Hold on, watch out. There we go. Oh. Grandma, there's about like 2 cups of gravel in this. It's starting to get warmer, and she loves working in the yard. Only thing is that sometimes she picks up a bunch of extra gravel when she's raking. Oh, sorry, bird. A bird was drinking out of the little fountain that was popping up, and I spooked it. Yeah, that's gonna work out fine. It's all going down. It's all sinking. That was like a big brick zit of water. It was nuts. I've never seen anything like it. I guess that happens every time there's a big rain, and I just never come out here and work. Let's see. Let's talk about Aladdin and the. That's probably like one of my favorite animated series based off of movie. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Like The Little Mermaid was fine. I thought it was a little weird that we have this whole story, this whole prequel story about her. What other ones? Like, I know for some reason the nostalgia. Lindsay. I was going to call her the nostalgia chick. That's the first thing that came to mind. That's a bag of worms there. But I know Lindsay apparently really likes Hercules, the animated series, or the Before Years or whatever. I thought that was okay. I like how the clip show actually incorporated him being married to Meg, and then him looking over a yearbook out of all of his adventures. I thought that was pretty neat little integration. Then you have Tarzan again. That was pretty good because it was just like Tarzan the cereal. It was a Pulp Fiction kind of story, and they just they were able to run with that concept. Especially with that evil cheetah woman. Wasn't there a kind of like a Jafar, like a sexy Jafar little girl, and she used magic, and they switched bodies one episode and stuff like that. I remember that, but I think Aladdin was my favorite one because it I don't know, it just went different places with all the different mythologies that you could visit. Oh, and yes, they did have a Hercules-Aladdin crossover with Phil hitting on Jasmine. But you know what? I think my favorite one would, either Aladdin, because I'm just remembering all these weird, interesting characters, like the Isafrit. It was this ice guy who was really bored. And they took him to Agrabah, and he went crazy from being hyped. And then there was the green guy who was able to I don't know. There was they met Aladdin's old gang, and they got turned into monsters. And then you had this one fire breathing green guy who was who used magic and everything. And then he later showed up because he liked being evil. And then you had the winged serpent and the Amazons. They just they did a lot with Aladdin. And then that's the weird thing about The Little Mermaid is that they never had God, what is her name? I was going to say Cruella, but that's not right. That's not... whatever. The octopus woman. Is that she never showed up. I don't think she ever showed up. I think they replaced her in the grander scheme of the series with Tim Curry as some sort of evil manta ray. And then they had his kid show up. I don't know. I just think Aladdin's just it just stayed on course a little better. And Mirage was an excellent recurring character. And then you had some sort of weird cliffhanger between her and the Cyclops guy. Actually, oh well, major spoilers. Actually, no. If you watch the series, and if I just mentioned the Cyclops guy, that would just be you wouldn't know him if you saw him. I think that might have been the spoiler. But anyway. Ugh. What other? Does Tailspin even count? Does Tailspin even count as like a... Because that's just basically the same characters doing a weird, different thing. Like, who ever thought Baloo would be like a good fighter pilot? Or like, what was the thought process behind that? I know that Rescue Rangers started out without Chip and Dale. It was actually going to be a continuation of the Rescuers. Like they were going to be, it was going to be a sequel, a series based on the Rescuers. Except, a different team, and they were going to go on their own different missions. And then they decided for some reason to incorporate Chip and Dale. And then they dropped the whole Rescuers concept altogether and just have them be like mystery solvers. And base them off of Indiana Jones and Tom Selleck. Which again is another like Venture Brothers call out. There's an episode where Hank and Dean have like a fantasy flashback thing, and they're dressed up as Chip and Dale, aka Indiana Jones and Tom Selleck. Here we go. And then Goof Troop was originally going to be about him taking over like a Boy Scout troop. Or like a youth troop kind of thing. Because of course they were going to have a girl in the fold. But then that turned into him having his own son and then moving next to Pete and that whole thing. There's a short called Soccer Goofy, which I think may have been like a backdoor pilot for that. Because it's about him coaching a soccer team. It's actually like a really interesting short. It was in like the 80s when Disney was trying to like experiment with stuff. Let's see. You got that. You've got... Tailspin is probably the weirdest. What with him being like a pilot in the 1920s. It'd be like, what would they do with Winnie the Pooh if you had to like update Winnie the Pooh if they went that way? Because they just basically just said, hey, let's make a new Winnie the Pooh series. It's like, what is he going to be, like a kickboxer? It's like, no, how about let's just have him be Winnie the Pooh? And it's like you don't want him having to be like the president of like a fashion industry. It's like, no, let's just have him be Winnie the Pooh. It's like, are you sure? I mean, ghost busting is a big thing right now. It's like, no. Just have him be Winnie the Pooh. He can be a race car driver. No. He can be a plumber. That's a big... No, just have him be Winnie the Pooh. Just let Pooh Bear be Pooh Bear. But why don't they do that? They could I know that they did Mickey Mouse Racing one time, where they made them all racers. That was like for the Disney Channel or like Disney Kids or whatever. I vaguely, back when I was still had the flipping through TV channels when the TV was on, I still vaguely remember Mickey Mouse's shack. No, Mickey Mouse's Toon House. No, basically the Kid Disney version where they needed like they did the Dora the Explorer thing where they axed the kids, axed the kids. What do they need? What do they need to do to find stuff? Like which tool do we use? Toodles, that's what it was. But they ended up doing I see stuff of it like in the toy aisles now, and on YouTube where they're like racers now. I guess they tried to do something with that, with like raw tunage, where they tried to bring back all those Disney characters. You know what? I never made the connection before, but do you think like Disney Magazine had any like input into raw tunage? Because I'm just looking at the format where you have Disney Kids Disney Magazine, that little digest you see in the grocery store aisle, and you'd flip through it to find the comics, and it always feature like different things, like one Darkwing Duck and this week, and then DuckTales this week, and then whatever show that was on for like half a season this other week. I'm just wondering if that had any sort of input onto raw tunage, which was also kind of like a spoof. It was Disney's answer to Animaniacs, really, when you think about it. And when you think about it, it would have been perfect because they have so much like memorable characters that they could have like actually done neat things with. Like I'm thinking of that bit about updating Winnie the Pooh. That would have been a good one. But then they ended up doing that with Pinky and the Brain. Like there's an actual episode where they go through all the different changes that they can be in order to update the format. There was one with like Don Carnage. I remember he did an intro. They had Webby do another intro one time. Oddly enough, they never touched Mickey Mouse. I think that's why the new Mickey Mouse shorts are so popular, is because they finally let Mickey Mouse and all the other characters be funny again. Because they were all doing these like safe kitty stuff. Like the best thing that came out before that, I think, was the Three Musketeers. That movie with I don't know, it was just like a French animated. It's like, I think it was done by the same studios that made all the Goofy movies, and it was like really interesting, and the animation was nice. It was short though, short as hell. I think it was only like 45 minutes, which is probably why they didn't release it out in the theaters. But still, I remember that being like the best thing that came out, featuring those characters. Oh, hold on, I got like a big wad of weeds in my hand. Ugh. Oh, it's everywhere now. I think we're about nearly done. I'm putting the final touches on her hair. Like I say I love the pen, but the actual tools, it just doesn't have a lot of variety, and that's the only real setback. Because I just can't get the settings that I want in Clip Studio, and it's just not as fluid. Yeah, I'm messing with the blur right now. I am so... You guys can't believe how happy I am that this worked. The battery cable hooked up to the microphone. It must be something to do with the connection it has between when the battery's in there, like that weird, the metal cable, the spring and everything. And for some reason, it just works better when you have a USB connected to it. This one actually turned out to be like a really nice drawing. I'm not crazy about the background, but I think at that point I was just like, hey, let's get this done. So I put like a brick background, and I put the blur filter on it, just to be like, it's there, it's there, it's done. This isn't even a commission. This is just something I did. I need to start working on those. Oh. Just so much to do. Yeah, I think that's a good place to to stop. Everything's rock solid. The footage is... Not the footage. The audio is still running. I think that's a good testament that we all just need to keep our nose to the grindstone and keep moving forward. You know what? One thing I did learn... that Disney signed an agreement. Like I'm hearing something about the Magic Lantern series of films. And without going in deep into that, there was a secret organization of filmmakers that wanted to take control away from like bigger studios. So they all formed a secret group, a secret cabal that included Charlie Chaplin and Orson Welles and weirdly enough, Disney himself. And they released cheap cameras to the public to get people to make their own movies. So that way they can, take away, or like, I don't know, just get people to make their own movies. And this was like in the 60s and 70s. I just thought it was weird that Disney would be on that kind of committee. Maybe I'll go into that a little more. Anyway, that was a teaser. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this rambling journey. And I will see you all later. Goodbye.